at the weekend, Conor Benn did go in against Peter Dobson over in the United States. He came out with a unanimous points victory. Eddie Hearn, post-fight, had a message specifically for Chris Eubank Jr.
People will always criticise Conor Benn, but will they step up and fight him? You know, he wants the names at 147 pounds. I'm still absolutely baffled by Chris Eubank Jr. You know, people talk about him making 160 pounds. No one talks about Conor Benn moving up 2 divisions to fight him. And he'll criticise tonight, he'll talk about this, but yet he continues to turn down a payday 3 times bigger than he can get anywhere else. So if he's easy work and you want to make the biggest fight in the history of British boxing, make it.
So make it, says Eddie. What do you think?
I've always thought it was a horror of a fight. I don't understand why Conor would want to go up to one. I do understand, because it pays. And Eddie's only talking about it from a commercial frame point. His job is to make money, and that's what it's about. I mean, I've listened to Eubank Sr. I don't hold stock with a lot of what Chris Eubank Sr. says, and I hold a stock with a lot of it. And for Chris Eubank to come down to 160 and below, which is what they originally were doing, was too much, I think.
Yeah.
And it's unnecessary. Okay, he went against Liam Smith and proved he could do it. Right?
But he looked very fragile at 160. I think that fight was made at 157, the original Conor Benn, Chris Eubank Jr. fight. 157. That's like, you're talking now, you're putting yourself in danger, because that's all fluid that you're losing. The fluid that's in and around the brain. It's not a good place to be. So I think that was unrealistic anyway.
Why is there a fixation with this fight? This is not advancing Conor Benn's career. Conor Benn doesn't become a world champion by fighting at 160 to beat or lose to Chris Eubank Jr.
It's lucrative, though, isn't it?
It's money.
That's
it's
what
about
it is.
money, right? And that's fine, because they're prize fighters, and they'll be the first person to turn around and say it's about prize fighting. But Conor Benn, once he clears his name or suffers the penalty that comes as a result of not being able to do so, can still go on and win a world title at 147 if he's good enough. That's his weight class. He might find himself as a light middle at 154, mightn't he?
He needs to pick someone from his weight division. That's the thing, and that's the thing that people get frustrated with. You hear him calling out, Javante Davis. He's 135 pound. He's a lightweight. You know, he's a small guy, and then you go Devin Haney, super lightweight.
Make your mind up. What you find at 160, 135?
Exactly. You're all over the place. Well, just focus on the 147s. You got like David Avanesian was a great fight there. High risk, low reward.
Too much
risk. Absolutely. But like Boots Ennis, there's loads of.
Okay, I mean, we'll talk about the prospect of Gervonta Tank Davis getting in with Conor, but of course, regards a fight with Eubank Jr., we had Eubank Sr. in here, and this was his take on it.
I mean, they're still talking about it. It doesn't make sense how they would even think about actually putting so much money and energy into actually producing another fight like it, knowing that I said it's not going to happen. And the reason it's not going to happen, now I can actually speak on hardcore facts. My son is now walking around at 13.5. That's 187 pounds. So for him to lose 27 pounds to get down to middleweight,
It's a lot on it.
See, the way it's like
It's a lot on it.
No, but the way you said that, it's like you're having a cup of tea and you're just having a bit of banter.
No, it's a lot. I'm agreeing with you.
This is a man's life.
Yeah, I'm agreeing
It's
with
a
you.
man's life. He'll never get down to that weight again, ever.
Ever.
Yeah. Listen, I think it was visible that he was struggling. We saw that when he first Liam Smith fight, how much he looked gaunt and drained. Yeah, right. Don't read too much into the second Liam Smith fight, because Liam Smith went in there and he wasn't 100%, and I think that was evident as soon as the first bell rang. So it's hard to read into that. But I think that Chris Eubank Jr.'s days at 160 are very, very tight, if not gone. Yeah, totally gone. So I think a fight with him and Conor Benn seems to have just sailed now. The ship has sailed for me, because there's too much water under the bridge, and we need to move on.
And I think the moving on could well be Gervonta Tank Davis, because he's been entertaining the idea on social media about getting in with Conor.
Jim, this is what it is. It's all about social media and going at each other and whatnot. And Gervonta Davis probably thinks, yep, that's no problem. I'll have that fight. I mean, Conor's not even in the world rankings in the 147, but fights are made on there because Conor's calling everyone out at the moment. Gervonta Tank Davis is a great fighter, but he's 135 pounds. I mean, it doesn't match up. They're weight divisions apart.
Yeah.
So, crazy.
That might be the one that we end up with, though. I mean, the more I hear about Eubank Jr. getting in with Conor Benn, the less likely I think it's going to be. And Eubank Sr., to be fair to him, Simon, he's many things and says many things. He's stuck to it. He's stuck to his line. Would you all stop talking about this fight?
Yeah, I mean, and he believes emphatically that he was in part kinetically connected to the situation that stopped Conor Benn from being able to fight him in the first place. Nothing to do with the 2 failed drugs test. And he believes again that he'll stop it in this situation. Look, it's never been a fight that I wanted to see. Even when Conor was in good standing, I saw him in the foyer here and I said, I don't want you for this fight. I want you in your own weight class, building up your own opportunities. I just think this is the wrong build opportunity for you. And Eddie's got no decency in this conversation, because he's not talking about what's right for the fighters. He's talking about what's right for their bank balances at this particular moment, and fundamentally what's right for his. And that's something you have to take on. You take your own view on whether Eddie's got the morality to opine upon it for the right reasons. There's no need for Conor Benn to fight Chris Eubank Jr. besides an enormous paycheck based upon the notoriety this fight now gained. And Eubank Jr. should just kill it in the cradle. I'm not fighting. End of conversation. I've got other things to do.
Having said that, Hearn's got to get the best deal he possibly can for the fighters.
Again, of course, and that's his job. But if you look at the reality of what you're doing, is you're asking one fighter to step up 2 weight classes and one fighter to step down 1 weight class and fight in a catchweight fight that has no substance behind it besides a huge paycheck. Now, that is substantial in the world of prize fighting. But I think you've got a whole raft of other things. If Eddie spent as much time and energy involving himself and giving Conor Benn the right guidance over the last 12 months, helping him make the right decisions, all of the malaise that Conor has suffered might well have been resolved, and Conor might be on a different trajectory now. Yeah. Rather than fighting in Las Vegas against Pete Dobson that no one's ever heard of.
I reckon now it's enough now, is the message from many people listening around the country this lunchtime. James is an Arsenal fan, but boxing fan too. I love boxing, but I'm not even excited now by Ben Eubank. It's over. Eddie just wants the money. Go away, Eddie. Focus your attention elsewhere. I think people are now fed up with it. Yes, it's done now. Listen, we've had it.
It's dead and buried in the water. You know, it's gone now. You know, Eubank is focusing on other things. He wants to box for the world middleweight title. You know, he's world ranked. He's there number 1 and number 2 in all the governing bodies. That's his road. That's where he's looking to go. You know, Conor Benn needs to focus on clearing his name here in Britain, getting his licence back and starting to try and win the crowd back.
Sure.
And focus on that 147 welterweight world title.